William Shakespeare's The Tempest is a tale of magic, betrayal, and forgiveness. Prospero, the rightful Duke of Milan, has been stranded on a remote island for 12 years with his daughter Miranda. He was usurped with his brother Antonio and Alonso, the King of Naples. Using his magical arts and his spirit servant Ariel, Prospero conjures a massive storm, the Tempest, to shipwreck his old enemies on his island. There are three subplots. The first is that one of the young lovers. Prospero ensures Prince Ferdinand, Alonso's son, is separated from the others. He meets Miranda and the two fall instantly in love, exactly as Prospero planned. The second one is the murderous nobility. Antonio and Sebastian, Alonso's brother, plot to kill the king while he sleeps to seize the crown of Naples, but they are thwarted by Ariel's magic. And the third is the comic conspiracy. Caliban, a bitter native of the island, teams up two drunken shipwrecks, Stefano and Trinculo, to kill Prospero and take over the island. Their plan is clumsy and easily foiled by Prospero's spirits. The resolution. Prospero uses illusion to confront the noblemen with their past crimes, leading them to a state of madness and eventually repentance. Instead of taking revenge, Prospero chooses mercy. He forgives Antonio and Alonso, he restores Ferdinand to his father, he renounces his magic, breaking his staff and drowning his book, and he grants Ariel his freedom and prepares to return to Milan. In the famous epilogue, Prospero stands alone on stage, asking the audience to release him from the island of the theatre with their applause. The setting are a ship at the sea and an island, and the action takes place within 3 hours. The island may be located somewhere in the Mediterranean, since the King of Naples and his court were traveling between Naples and Tunis when the storm hit them. The New World, and Bermuda in particular, might also have been in Shakespeare's mind, so the place is an island away from national claims and from any kind of civilization. This makes it theatrical, the ideal stage for a series of magical occurrences that involve exotic, strange, and even invisible characters, as well as for a multisensory experience with sounds and music to complement the play's visual appeal. Prospero was the rightful Duke of Milan, who, being devoted more to the study of philosophy and magic than to affairs of state, was deposed 12 years earlier and sat adrift with his daughter Miranda on a boat on the orders of his brother Antonio. He is a magician. His magic powers come from his studies and he tries to use them to do good. The symbols of Prospero's power are his books, which are a source of supernatural knowledge, his robe, which he wears as a magician and takes off when he's an ordinary man, and his wand. Ariel is a spirit of the air, who is very fast, can become invisible and can change his appearance. For example, he can appear as a sea nymph or a fire spirit who sets the ship on fire. He used to be in the service of the witch Sycorax, who had confined him in a pine tree. After 12 years' imprisonment, he was released by Prospero, who gave him tasks more suited to his gentle nature. The meaning of his name is the Lion of the Lord, and his voice sometimes sounds like a lion's roar. Shakespeare may also have played on the word Ariel. Caliban is the only native of the island. He is the son of the witch Sycorax and the devil. When Prospero came to the island, he showed him how to survive, and Prospero taught him to speak. Later, he tried to rape Miranda, and Prospero enslaves and punished him. Although he is repulsive in appearance and behaves instinctively, he can be sensitive and has a sense of beauty. Some critics say that Caliban's name may derive from the word cannibal, a term used by Europeans to describe flesh eaters. In the play, he is also associated with darkness, in contrast to Miranda's purity. Miranda is not a suffering heroine. She embodies female perfection through the ethereal beauty and a spoiled innocence. The Tempest belongs to the last period of Shakespeare's work, and it is characterized by serenity in human relationships. Shakespeare seemed eager to show that good may come from evil. There is in fact no tragic ending. Not only are the criminals prevented from causing death, but they are forgiven. The most interesting themes are forgiveness, all ends in peace and reconciliation, with music intensifying and the atmosphere of enchantment. The element of magic and its representation as theatrical illusion. There are two types of magic in the play. The witch Sycorax black magic, which tends to work evil on its victims, and it is usually the result of a pact with the devil, and Prospero's magic, which comes from study and knowledge, and is used for good purposes. A warning against the dangers of English expansion abroad. Prospero is the European who has taken charge of a remote island, where he has organized a life for himself by getting the local inhabitants to work for him. He maintains his power by a combination of false and promises of future freedom. So Prospero becomes a symbol for European colonial power, with which England was growing increasingly familiar in Shakespeare's lifetime. And it can also be connected to the figure of Friday in Defoe's novel. Shakespeare used different levels of speech and action to portray his characters from different angles. A character may suddenly switch from everyday prose to solemn verse. Sometimes are included allegorical scenes, noises, the sounds of the sea and the island, songs, music and dances, magical transformation. The Tempest uses all the techniques of the theatre: dramatic action, special effects, music, magic and monsters. It is somewhat an exploration into the nature of theatre itself, since Prospero, like the playwright, controls the whole experiment through his ability to create illusions. However, his power largely depends on Ariel's help, so Ariel can be seen as the power of the imagination that makes the illusion of the theatre possible. Some critics regard The Tempest as Shakespeare's farewell play, his final masterpiece, which sets the opposition between good and evil in a world of fantasy. Prospero's magic managed to reconcile all levels of society, from rulers to semi-human brutes. Prospero can turn the perception of human beings into a world full of beauty, peace and love. However, life must be lived in the real world, in Milan or in Naples. This is why Prospero gives up his magical powers in the last act of the play. The Tempest was performed in 1611, and because of the happy resolution of the play through the marriage of Ferdinand and Miranda, in 1613 it was chosen for the wedding celebration of Elizabeth, daughter of James I and Prince Frederick. Many different works and sources must have provided Shakespeare with ideas or incidents for this play. They are mainly of three types: pamphlets about voyage to America, fairy tales of monsters in human form from which he must have taken the idea of Caliban, or stories about magic, the Italian commedia dell'arte, since Italian companies often travel around England.